Maccabees. We dedicate your temple like the Maccabees. Like the Maccabees. Like the Maccabees. Like the Maccabees. Lineage for you priests. Like the Maccabees. Like the Maccabees. Like the Maccabees. Lineage for you priests.
So what's your name, brother? Ty. Ty? Alright, Jeremiah, nice to meet you, right? I want you to repeat your question.
I understand, dude, I believe in this stuff, you know what I mean? I was brought up in the church and stuff. But in these days now, I'm a man and stuff now. It's still upset it's just so much crap going on around us every day. It's the other day I go to work from graveyard and I can look at my jacking out before somebody get whacked over. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of good folks and stuff get caught up in collateral damage and everything. Ain't out there thugging and stuff and shoot. I respect them and stuff and a lot of my peeps. But at the same time and stuff, that ain't deep. I just work, this, that, and the third. I see a lot of friends at 18 and stuff. Be on this side alone, get whacked.
No.
Since January, got whacked.
No.
So I'm that really bad with them. I just don't understand, buddy. Like, why the world you just turn your back? These folks ain't doing the right thing, but then it's like you turn your back to them and stuff. Them same ones get whacked.
All right.
I'm not done. And then the same ones and stuff, like family that you love the most and stuff. They hear and they go on like. You pray, you pray, you pray. You go to him with an earnest heart. That's the way I was taught in church and stuff. You go with an earnest heart and stuff.
All right.
Why the world they had to die?
All right, watch this time. Hold on, all right? I'm gonna deal with your question, all right? Just bear with me, all right? Now watch this. Give me Proverbs 7 and 2 first.
Everything about it.
No, give me Deuteronomy 7 and 6 first. Let's go from the beginning and let's bring it all the way up to now, right? Now when you say people get it whacked in our community, you're talking about by our own people and also by other nations, right?
And the police.
And the police, right? Watch it. Let's start from the beginning, what God said, right? Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
That's right.
So, from the beginning, God chose us, the so-called blacks and Hispanics, to be his special people, his chosen people, right?
That's right.
Above everyone on the face of the planet, right? But with that came certain things, right? In order for us to be a special people unto God, right? So now give me Deuteronomy 28.
Deuteronomy chapter 28
and 1.
Verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high, above all nations of the earth.
You see that? So God says, I give you commandments, right? And if you do them, I'm going to set you above high, above everybody in the nation and the planet, right? Now, give me Proverbs 7 and 2 now. These commandments serve a purpose in our lives, right? God didn't just give it to us for, let's say, okay, well, you just do it and it's just something of the mind. It's a reason why he gave it, right? Now read that.
Proverbs chapter 7, verse 2. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye.
You see that? God says, keep the commandments I gave you, right? That you may live as the apple of thine eye. Let's say someone tells you, okay, you got children? All right, let's say you tell your child, right? Hey, you're the apple of my eye. What are you telling your child?
My everything and stuff. I love you and stuff. I will put nothing before you.
You're my word, right? You're the reason I'm living, right? That's basically what you're telling your child, right?
Yeah.
God, read that from the top again.
Proverbs chapter 7, verse 2. Keep my commandments and live.
So God says, keep my commandments and you will live, right? Read.
And my law as the apple of thine eye.
And his laws as the apple of your eye. Meaning that his law is supposed to be the most important thing in your life.
That's right.
Because watch this. Give me Deuteronomy 30 and 19. Because if we don't keep God's commandments, curses will follow. Matter of fact, hold Deuteronomy 30 and 19. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Let's get the flip side. of what God said when he gave us his commandments.
Bring it
He
out.
said from verse 1 through 14, he said, if you keep, blessings will follow. If you don't, curses will follow you, right? Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Bring it out.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
See that? So the flip side of not keeping God's commandments, our curses will follow us, right? Now, give me Jeremiah 16. Jeremiah chapter 16. Remember the thought. He said, if you keep my commandments, you will live, and if you keep it as the apple of thine eye. Right? Read it. Jeremiah 16, verse 10.
Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 10. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us?
You see that? Now, there's the same thing you asked me. You said, God, if you are a God and you chose us, why are we being shot down on the street?
Bring it out.
Why is my family dying around me and you're taking them away? Right? Read it from the top again.
Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 10. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us?
So that's your question. Read.
Or what is our iniquity?
So see that right there? Right there. The question now becomes, God, you reached that first part. You said, you see people dying, right? No, your question should be, God, what is my iniquity, right? Your question should be, what is my iniquity? What is iniquity? That's my question to you. Sin, right? Let's get sin. Hold that. Give me sin. Let's see what the sin is, right? That's your question. Read. You got it? Because we, as a people, we forgot that we're God's chosen people, right? Some of us know, but some of us forgot that we're God's chosen people, and with that comes responsibility. Right? Read that.
1 John chapter 3, verse 4.
Bring it out.
Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law.
The same law we're supposed to be keeping as the apple of thine eye is the same law we transgress. That's what sin is, right? Read.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
See that? So sin is breaking God's law.
That's right.
Now go back to Jeremiah. Read.
Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 10. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us? Or what is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we have committed against the Lord our God? Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, said the Lord.
You see that? Because our fathers have forsaken. The generation before us, right? They and the generations before them, when we got brought into captivity on slave ships, that was a curse from God because we broke his commandments. We forgot that we're God's chosen people, and we started worshiping idols. We started doing our own thing, right? We started hating each other, right? Continue reading. Don't go nowhere. Read that.
Because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord, and have walked after other gods.
See that? And have walked after other gods. What is the other god? Look on the side right here. Which one of these is Christ? Which one of these all people worship as Jesus Christ or think in their mind is Jesus Christ? The white dude, right? Majority of our people follow Christianity or Islam, right? In all kind of madness, they have forsaken God and have walked after other gods.
That's right.
Read.
And have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law.
You see, there it goes again, and have not kept my law. Read.
And ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, you walk everyone after the imagination of his evil heart.
Now, I want you to read that again. The scripture just said that we, this current generation, walked worse than our forefathers. Why? Because in the past, we knew who we were. When we got off those slave ships, we knew we were the Israelites. We knew who our God was, right? We knew who our brother was, right? Today, we say, nah. We see our brother in the street, we say, okay, you look just like me, I'm gonna shoot you to step on my Jordan, right? I'm gonna I'm going to sell dope to my own people. Our forefathers never did that. We knew that in the past, right? That was wrong. Today we're worse, right? Because you look at your own brother wrong, you get a bullet in your head or a bullet in your chest. Right. That's how we live now. Read.
For behold, you walk every one after the ambition of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me. Therefore will I cast you out of this land, into a land that ye know not.
See that? Did we know America before we got here? No, right? So what? The Bible is a true book because we're in a land that we never knew. That's right. Read.
Neither ye nor your fathers, and there shall ye serve other gods.
See that right there? We serve other gods today. Like you said, the white Jesus, right? We serve that today. Majority of our people, Islam or Christianity, serving other gods. Right? Read.
There shall you serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor.
So, we serve other gods, right, in a land that we don't know, right? Now, give me Deuteronomy 30 now. 30 and 19. Because remember the thought, we're supposed to keep God's law as the apple of their eye. The laws of God is what keeps us alive. Right. Because remember, we as a nation, right, we don't have military might. We don't have our own government, right? We don't have no one to fight for us. The only person that has ever fought for us in this Bible as the Israelites, because we're the Israelites, right, is God. For God to fight for us, we got to be keeping His commandments. Right? So now we're not keeping God's commandments. Guess what? We're wide open. We're wide open to anything. Right? Read. And I'm going to get why the other nations shoot us down too, because God says that too. You got that too. Read.
Bring it out. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. Bring it out. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing.
So there it goes again. The choice was life if you keep God's commandments, death if you don't keep God's commandments.
Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
Notice, God says, when He gave us the commandments, God said, choose life. It was never His intention for you to choose death. It is never intention for you to be dying in the street. It was always His intention to give you life, to give His people life, to make His people on top above everybody on the planet. Right? Was it on that? Now, give me Deuteronomy 32 and 29. Let me see, let me look at it. Listen. Yeah, watch this. Watch this time. Watch it.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 29.
Bring it out.
Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How shall one chase 1,000 and two put...
All right, read 29 again.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 29. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end.
So God is saying, I wish that my people were wise and consider the latter end. Why? Because the law says, if you kept my commandments, the wisdom in knowing that knowledge is that if I keep it, I would be alive. No harm will come to my people, right? We will be above ruling the planet. God says, I wish my people were wise. But what we did, we chose death. You got what I want? Now, remember, the scripture says, right, that I wish my people were wise. Because the choices, only two choices, life or death, right? You got that? Read it.
Verse 39.
Bring it out.
See now that I, even I am He.
God is saying, see now, even I am He. Nobody else in this planet, nobody else, no other God exists. I am He, read.
Right. And there is no God with me.
God says there's no other God but me. Therefore, that also means that only the so-called blacks and Hispanics, the Israelites, has the true God.
Right.
Read.
I kill and I make alive.
You see that? God says, I kill and I make alive. I'm the one that brings the judgment. Nothing happens unless I give the okay. Right? Read.
I wound and I heal.
God is able to wound us like we get a shot down in the street, and He's able to heal us also, right? If what? If what? If we keep His commandments. Read.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
See that? And neither is anyone can deliver out of my hand. Now give me Hosea 5:15. You said God turned his back on us, right? Watch this. God covered everything because he made us. He knows us, right? Read that.
The book of Hosea, chapter 5, verse 15.
Bring it out.
I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense.
Now, God says, here it is, God, right? God is right, you right there, right? God is dealing with you, right? Then God says, you know what? I'm going to go and return to my place. So if I say, I'm talking to you right now, right? And I say, all right, Todd, I'm going to go home. What I got to do? I got to turn my back and go my direction, right? Read it from the top again. What God do?
I will go and return to my place
God turned his back on us. Read.
till they acknowledge their offense.
God says, I'm going to turn my back on you until you acknowledge your offense. The offense we did was breaking God's laws, right? Read.
And seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early.
See that? And seek my face in their affliction, in their troubles, in their tribulations, in them getting shot down in the street, being imprisoned at alarming rates, right? Dying at phenomenal rates, their communities being filled with diseases, right? Until then, we acknowledge our offense, right? Then God is going to say, okay, they know what they did wrong, right? And you repent. Now, was it on that? Give me Zechariah 11:5. Now we're going to get the other side. God turned his back on us, right? Now we free game to every nation on this planet. That's why they shoot us down in the streets and there's no justice, right? Because now instead of we judging ourselves, God says this other nation is going to perform the judgments now on you, right? Because we're not dealing right with each other. Therefore, judgments will come upon us. Right. Read that.
Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 5.
Bring it out.
Whose possessors slay them.
Now the scripture says, whose possessors slay them. Where the selling of the slaves at? Right there, right there. Flip that sign right quick. When we were brought over here in slave ships in North America, the Caribbean islands, Haiti, all over the world, right? We became the possessions of another nation. Right. They were able to sell us, to kill us, to rape us at will. Right? God is saying, today, are we in their possession still to this day? Yeah, right? Read it from the top again.
Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
How many of them get off? How many times? You say you look at the news.
Too many.
Too many, right?
Too many.
Read it from the top again.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
And hold themselves not guilty. That's what the Bible says, right? Because why? We're not keeping God's laws, right? God cannot fight for us. You now go back now. What is the solution now? What is the solution?
Well, what you said and everything and stuff, you know, you have to keep the commandments. But my thing is, a lot of those folks who, and I believe everything you said, but a lot of those folks and stuff, I truly, out of a percentage, got kept the commandments and still got caught. I truly believe that.
Now, you said a lot of them kept the commandments of God, right? Let me ask you this. As far as church goes, did they go to church? Do you know of any?
The two out of so many, yes.
All right, let me ask you this. Did you know, do you know the true image of Christ? Did they know the true image of Christ?
Like how you broke it down right here?
Yeah.
No, I don't, because if any church you basically go to and stuff, they're gonna have no black Jesus up there, man.
That's
They're gonna have dude right there. If you talk about money, you can talk. I think you're talking about downtown, that new Bethel and all that and stuff, Reverend McKenzie. They're the ones that try to take the money and stuff. I already been on that end before. I already been on the end about the money.
Now, if they kept God's commandments, right? If they kept God's commandments, right? They're at rest, right? But if they didn't keep God's commandments, right? That's another story. Because majority of our people, give me Acts 7, which says the church is 4 years. All right, give me that.
The book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 48. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands.
I see that look on your face. What does that say?
I got my answer question.
You understand that scripture? Now, because there is a church on every block in our communities, but nothing hasn't changed. We still selling drugs to each other. We still whoring out our women. We still killing each other. Therefore what? This church is not telling you the truth. They're not teaching God's commandments. Right? Now, go back to Deuteronomy 28 now. The question becomes now, how do we fix our communities? Right? Because we're tired of living like this. That's why we're out here to show our people who they are, because it begins with imagery first. We got to understand that God chose us and we're the Israelites, right? We're no longer supposed to be hating each other, right? We're supposed to deal right with each other. We're supposed to marry our sisters, right? Not worrying about having baby mamas and single parent households, right? Because the majority of the problems that exist within our communities start with a single parent household. Because the man is not in the house to train up the young man, right? Matter of fact, hold that. Give me Deuteronomy 6 and teach a child 6 and 7. Because the man is not in the house to teach the young man this is what you're supposed to do. And then 1 Kings 2 and 2. And how to conduct himself as a young man within this nation, right? Read that. You got the Deuteronomy. Yeah, give me that.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 7. Bring it out. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
Now this is talking about the commandments. You got children, you said, right, Todd? This is what you're supposed to do as their father, right? Because it starts, remember, the cycle only is going on continuously because there have never been the knowledge of who we are and what we're supposed to do. Hold that, give me Hosea 4 and 6. Because there's not the knowledge within our communities to say this knowledge is able to stop the cycle. This knowledge is able to free us from the white image, from the image from us hating our brothers. All that stuff exists in the Bible for us to free ourselves. But we have never searched out the Bible to actually figure out, because we never know who we are. We think we're black or African American, right? Caribbean, West Indian, Haitians. That's what we're going around thinking. But God is saying, you knowing you're the Israelites, you're supposed to teach His commandments to your children, because that's the next generation. And they teach it to their children. That's how we break the cycle. Read.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. Bring it out. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
You see that? You know what I want, Malachi 2? Because God's saying, my people, the Israelites, the so-called blacks and Hispanics, are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Right? Let's get what the knowledge is. Read.
The book of Malachi, chapter 2 and verse 7. Bring it out. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge.
The priest, right? The man that knows God and should be teaching you God about God and what He requires, right? Should keep knowledge. His lips should be speaking knowledge to you, Tom, and to you. Read.
And they should seek the Lord at His mouth.
You see that? You going to church. Our people go to church. There's no law coming out of the pastor's mouth. All he says is, give me 10%, right? And close the book. When tithing is a law, and they say the laws are done away with. That's alone is confusion right there, right? The pastors are not teaching you laws. They say come as you are, and that's why they say come as you are. Therefore, the situations we see continue as they are, right? Go back. What I got here? Go back to Deuteronomy now, 6 and 7. So the priest is supposed to be teaching you the knowledge of God, right? Watch this. This is what you're supposed to be doing with your kids. Watch it.
Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes.
Now, the scripture says you're supposed to be teaching your children when you walk, when you lie down, when you rise up, right? Meaning every chance you get, you teach your child the laws of God.
That's
right? Because you're preparing the next generation, right? Because when you die, right, they continue the generation, right? They continue the community, right? It's in their power and yours as well to change your community, right? By teaching them God's laws, right? Now, give me what I had? Deuteronomy 28. Yo, 1 Kings 2. You got son? You got son? You got one son, right? All right. This goes for brother right here. All y'all right here, right? Young man, young sister, right? Young man. You Ty, right? Your older brother, right? You got a son too, right? This is how, because the problems, right, and the solutions for our community rest on the man's shoulder, right? We're the ones that's supposed to rise up and teach our community the right way. We're the ones supposed to rise up and show our people the right way they're supposed to live, right? But how can we do that when we're not following ourselves? Be men to show our sons how to be men, right? To show our daughters how to be women, right? We gotta learn this first, because everything we've learned and in our minds are from our oppressors. Since the days of slavery, everything we've learned is from them. And no way our oppressors, the same people that enslaved us, is going to teach us the right way. And the knowledge we need to free ourselves. They're not going to do that. Now, read that.
1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1. Now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying.
Now, King David, right? Your forefather, right? King David was a man, a mighty man from the tribe of Judah, an Israelite, right?
That's right.
He was dying, going to pass on, right? And he had a son, Solomon, right? That would take his place as king, right? So he said, listen, son, I'm about to die, right? The nation's hand, the nation is now going to be in your hands, right? Because remember, the king, right, his son, his heir, takes the throne, right? And he leads the nation. So he says, son, I'm going to pass on. Let me show you what you need to actually lead this nation of Israel. That's right? Read it from the top again.
Now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong therefore, and show thyself a man.
You see that? That applies to you, brother. You. All of us out here, men, right? Older men, our sons, right? I'm going to tell you, how do you become a man? This is what King David is saying, right? So we're going to get the answer. How do we become men in our communities? How do we become men to fix our communities? To stop the drug selling, to stop the single parent households, right? How do we do that? Read.
And keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways.
You see that? To keep the charge of the Lord thy God. Why? The single parent households will be stopped because God says, the charge of God says, Hebrews 13:4, is the marriage is honorable in all, right? No longer will a brother sleep with a sister and say, okay, I'm going to leave you and have a single parent household, right? Because the law says you're supposed to marry that sister. If you sleep with her, she was good enough to sleep with, you got to marry her. Right. That's what the laws of God said. That takes out single parent households right there. Right. Therefore now the man is in the house. He knows God's law because he just applied it and married the sister. Right. So the children coming up will understand, now being taught God's laws. Right. And that's how it begins to change our communities. Right. That's how it begins to end the cycle of drug selling and single parent households. Right? And the shooting down of our own brothers and sisters that look like us. Read.
To keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou may prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself.
You see that? So anywhere we turn, if we keep God's laws, wherever we go on this planet, if we keep God's laws, God says we will be blessed. Everything will be going good for us if we keep God's laws. Why? Because if I know the law that says I shouldn't hate my brother in my heart, and I leave Jacksonville and go to Carolina, and I see my brother, I ain't gonna bear hatred to him.
Right.
Because the law says I'm supposed to love my brother. Right? He's my neighbor. Right? That's how it begins, Ty. Us learning the law. Give me Isaiah 34:16. This is how it begins. We gotta study this Bible because the Bible has always been our book. The Bible has never been the book of any other nation on the planet. You know what I want. Fine. The Bible has never been the book of no other nation on this planet but yours. You ever heard that before? No, right? Because everyone thinks that this Bible and Christ is for everybody else, right? But God says He's only the God of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the Israelites. You're the only ones God is dealing with. Let me ask you this, carnally speaking, right? Carnally speaking, right? Let me ask you this, is there any Trayvon Martin in the Chinese community?
Bring it out. Bring it out.
Is there any Arab man being shot down in the street? And do you see them selling drugs to their own people? Do you see them with single-parent households? No. The answer is no to all of those questions.
Right.
Because God is only dealing with us.
Right.
When we step aside from God's laws, right, these things exist in our community.
That's right.
Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcasts, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.